Hey guys, I'm Eric.
And I'm Grace. We're the Wandering Ravens.
We are a couple of American digital nomads who have been living here in Paris during this whole coronavirus situation, but on this YouTube channel, we make videos about British culture 3 times a week.
If that's a topic that interests you, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the little bell icon so that you never miss a new video from us.
We assembled this list of American things that you cannot do in the UK from British writers on Quora. So if you want to see the full post and their full responses, link to that in the description.
But before we get into today's episode, make sure that you dunk the like button like you would a digestive at tea time.
Alright, let's begin. These are American things that you cannot do in the UK. Expect to have a dryer in your rental home. In London, you'd be lucky to have room for one. Never mind actually having one. Yeah, that's true. In all my time living in America, I don't think I've ever been in a house or an apartment that didn't have a drying machine.
Yeah, we definitely noticed that dryers are not as common in the UK, I feel. Like people hang dry their stuff a lot more, which is more environmentally friendly, so I do appreciate that. Expect to have a fridge with ice dispenser, garbage disposal, integrated water filter, and various other conveniences as standard in a kitchen. Are garbage disposals not very common in the UK then?
Have outgoing mail collected directly from your house. Yeah, unless you live in an apartment building in the city, you're always gonna have a post box. A little mailbox down at the end of the driveway or in front of your house. And when you need to post a letter, you just stick it in there and the postman comes to your house to collect it. And that's also where they drop off the mail that you are receiving. In case you're not aware of how the system works, what you do is you have the mailbox, you put the lid down, you put the mail in, you put it up, and then you lift up the red flag. And the red flag is a signal to the mailman that there is mail in there that needs to be picked up.
Never worry about locking yourself out of the house. You can accidentally leave the door unlocked, but you can't lock the door from the outside without a key.
I don't even know what he's talking about. How do you lock yourself out of the house without a key? If you're British, do explain this for us. How do you lock yourself outside of the house? In America, you have to have the key to lock the door, unless you have a PIN, which is only very recent. So it's impossible to lock yourself outside of the house. Fun fact, while keys in the UK sometimes look like this, in America, they always look like this.
Which is quite boring.
Yeah, your keys look a lot more Harry Potter-esque.
You've offended.
I'm sorry. In America, you can fly the national flag outside of your home without it signaling to everyone that you're some kind of crypto-fascist.
This is definitely a difference we notice between the UK and USA. In the USA, it's not at all uncommon to have a flag hanging off of your house or see flagpoles at stores and stuff like that. That's really, really common.
Yeah, it doesn't really make a statement. If you see someone with a flag out, it doesn't really tell you much about what they believe or what their political ideology is. Whereas in the UK, a lot of people told us that flying the cross of St. George, for example, in England, is very controversial. When we were in Bath Abbey was flying the cross of St. George, and we heard British people remark on how vulgar it was to do so because it was, I guess, such a political thing to do. We were not aware of that. Basically, yes, in the United States, you can have a flag on your car, in your house, and it doesn't really say much. It's just a flag.
But if you have your entire big pickup truck spray painted with the American flag, that does kind of tell a little bit about your political leanings.
Yeah, and if you have more than one flag. If you have a bust of George Washington in your garden, if you have the 10 Commandments above your fireplace and the Constitution right beside it.
Which one's bigger?
We'll say something about which political party you're in.
Live in a house with a 5-digit street number even though there are only 10 houses on your street.
That never stood out to me as odd. But yeah, I guess, in the UK we did see houses number 1, number 2, number 3. But in America, to the best of my knowledge, every house has a 5-digit number that identifies the house.
Mine's 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my family's house is 3.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, there's an exception. Buy fresh avocados that have a decent shelf life.
We have noticed this when visiting other countries like the UK as well as France, that fruit and produce go off a lot quicker than they do in the States. Now, our reasoning behind this is just that in the States they use a shit ton of pesticides and all that kind of stuff.
So that might be why.
So that might be why ours can last an eternity. Just in case you guys have noticed, yes, I am still in recovery from the whole wisdom tooth removal, which is why my face is slightly swollen still, as well as why I'm not able to talk quite the same as I usually am. So if I'm acting a little bit different in this video, Don't worry, it's just the whole wisdom tooth ordeal. Ask for fresh coffee without fear you'll be given instant.
So maybe, is he talking about at someone's house or at a shop? In America, instant coffee is very rare. Filter coffee is the most common thing.
Or like those nasty Keurig things.
Oh, right. Now Keurig has come in big while we've been gone. So when we go back and visit now, we're very surprised at how many people have Keurig machines.
Is that like instant coffee then, or?
No, it's better quality. Instant coffees, like you tear the pack and then you...
What I just can't get over though is how insanely unenvironmentally friendly these Keurig machines are. Now I'm not hating on anyone who has a Keurig, but why? Why did they make all these plastic pods? They need to come up with a new solution. All right, rant over.
In America, you can order bacon without fear of it being undercooked and rubbery. In America, basically wherever you order bacon, you're gonna be getting the same thing, a thin slice of crispy fried bacon. Some Americans like it chewy, but you have to special order it that way at the restaurant.
Find low-carb, paleo, and other dietary options in restaurants and fast food places.
Yes.
What the hell?
It's Marley and Marley.
Marley and Marley.
Yes, this is something we notice because in the US, or at least where we're from, they have every substitution known to mankind and they're very like allergen friendly all the time. If you say you have allergies, maybe the server is hating you in their head, but they will always be very careful to meet your allergy needs.
One of the locations where we felt this most keenly in the United Kingdom was in cafes and coffee shops, because where we're from in the United States, if you go into a coffee shop and you need a milk substitute, because maybe you're allergic to milk, like Grace is, then they're going to be able to offer you almond milk, coconut milk, oat milk. Generally, they will at least have 3 options, and very often they'll have 4 to 5 milk substitutes for you to choose from. But when we were in the UK, it was very difficult to find anywhere that had any substitute besides soya. We went to dozens of coffee shops while we were there, and I think only once or twice did they have something other than soya, which, doesn't help us out because Grace also has an intolerance to soy.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a pickle.
Yes, quite.
We mentioned this in another video and got a lot of flack from people because they said, hey, you can get almond milk and coconut milk in Waitrose and other grocery stores. And yeah, you can. We did see it there, but in coffee shops and cafes, we only encountered it maybe once or twice. Yeah.
I only have one specific memory where they had almond milk, and I was like, yes, almond milk is like the safest option for me.
In the United States, you can refuel your car without having to take out a second mortgage. This is very true. We noticed that petrol in the UK was extremely expensive. In the United States, for example, I just got a photo from a friend of mine a couple of days ago of him buying gas in the United States for 99 cents a gallon. Of course, that low price is the result of the COVID situation, but it's a good example of how gas in America is a lot cheaper than it is in the UK.
In the US, you can make a legal right turn at a red light.
I actually didn't realize that this was illegal in the UK. We didn't drive there, so we didn't have a way to find out. But yeah, I do like this law in America. It is really nice if you're standing at a red light, sitting, I guess, at a red light, and there's no traffic coming, then you have the right to turn on red.
Does it change things because they drive on the opposite side of the road?
I guess for you guys it would be a free left turn.
Yeah, because you don't want to do that. Like,
That's dangerous. Yeah. I can imagine how American tourists visiting the UK might accidentally do a right turn, but it's a completely different thing because it's opposite sides of the road.
That'd be so dangerous cutting across traffic like that.
Another driving one. In America, it is all right to pass when you're driving on both sides. I know in the UK you're only supposed to overtake in the fast lane, but in the United States you can overtake on either side. Slow lane, fast lane, it doesn't matter, which is nice, and I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm not really sure why you're not allowed to overtake on all the lanes in the UK. If you know the reasoning behind that, do let us know.
In the US, you can send your kids to school without them being required to participate in religious observance.
What is that? I have never heard of this before.
Also, this seems very strange and almost like it should be the other way around, because I think the US is far more religious than the UK.
Yeah, I would have assumed that this would have been the other way around because there's a lot more religious people in the States. I'm not really sure what religious observance is. Sounds a bit odd to be a thing in the UK considering how many people are non-religious there. In the United States, if you were required to participate in religious observance, of course, people would lose their minds. because it's considered a violation of the separation of church and state. For some reason, that doesn't apply to our money or the Pledge of Allegiance.
One nation, under God.
If you have a moment, do let us know what religious observance looks like for you in the UK, because this is a interesting topic that we have never heard of before. If you enjoy learning about the differences between the United States and the UK, then you will love this playlist of videos right here, where we go over a bunch of the things that British people do that Americans don't do. Also, good news! If you wish that you had wandering ravens in your life every day of the week, then you will enjoy hearing that we've started putting vlogs on our Patreon 3 times a week. So if you want to see some of these vlogs, make sure you join our Patreon community, link in the description.
And speaking of patrons, a huge thank you to Jonathan Keddy and Tony Rutledge, our chuffed for choices. We really appreciate you guys.
May haggis be with you both. Again, I'm Eric.
And I'm Grace.
We're the Wandering Ravens.
And we'll see you guys in the next video.
Bisous!